springtime is a great time to think about mulching your garden. I'm with Jeff Grimm from Grimm's Fuel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now you guys have just mulched this whole entire yard.
Yep, we did. We had the guys come in and blew out some garden mulch compost this morning.
And there's not just garden mulch that you can put on this time of year. There's all these different kinds, and you brought this great sample tray, so maybe we can talk about the different kinds of mulch that you could put on your garden.
Certainly. First, maybe we'll talk about what we installed here. This is our garden mulch compost. It's a certified organic compost. It's certified by the U.S. Composting Council. And it's an organic compost made from the stuff that comes into our yard debris recycling center. So it's a little more nutritious, better for your plants and soils than maybe a more traditional bark dust, which have a tendency to use pull nitrogen out of your soil as it breaks down.
A lot of people use it because it looks so nice and fresh. It's a beautiful color.
It is. You know, the traditional fresh reddish stuff is real popular. It's been real prevalent. There's lots of it in our area, or has been in the past. Things are a little different this year. The mills are down, the housing's slowed down, so there's not a lot of bark dust around this year, and it's going to be really hard to find these fresher, more traditional bark dust.
So it might be a good idea to think about something different then that's more available.
Yeah, and the garden mulch is a good way to go.
And now this one looks a little bit more stringy. It's a little bit lighter looking. What kind is this?
Well, this is our hemlock bark dust, the fresh hemlock bark dust. The advantage of the hemlock is it doesn't have slivers like you get from the fir bark dust. So people with kids or people that like to work with the garden with their hands a lot have a tendency to go with the hemlocks. This is the coarse hemlock. It's kind of hard to come by also. It's more for pathways and stuff like that, although some people do use it for ground cover. Okay.
And then you're kind of going into a more broken down one like this one?
Yeah, these are the aged bark dust. That's the aged hemlock bark dust. Same thing as this. It's just been in the stockpile for a little while, so it's turned dark.
Okay.
So we have the aged hemlocks, and same thing with the firs, the aged firs. And then you can get them in a fine grind or the medium grinds.
Okay. So on a more established garden, you would use these. It wouldn't pull the nitrogen as much.
Yeah, you can use them. Yeah. If you love that red look, you're kind of stuck with the fresh hemlock or the fir.
Right, but it seems like conditions are going to be maybe pulling us to a different kind of texture now.
Yeah, for the next year or two, while this housing shortage and the mill shutdowns, it's going to be hard to find these materials, and people are going to have a tendency to have to gravitate towards the darker products, either the stockpiled stuff from overstocks from prior years or the compost.
Well, but I think a compost might be a good way to go. It's going to add so much more to your soils and your soil structure.
Certainly, yeah. Compost is the way to go, and that way we close the loop. You bring in your yard debris to one of our locations, and we'll compost it and bring it back out.
So you just you bring it in one year, and the next year you bring it back?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's a good thing to do, though, because you do, like you said, complete that loop.
Sure.
And I'm just adding a lot more nutrients and soil structure at the same time.
Sure. And we can either install it like we did for these people, or we can dump it in your driveway, and you can do all the work. Or we can come out and install it like we did here in this lovely yard.
Yeah, and that's not a bad idea. I mean, we're all getting kind of busy, so it's nice to have your team come out. They're experienced. They kind of come in and leave right away when they're finished.
They're quick, and they clean up, and it's all done, and you don't have to go to the chiropractor once it's all finished and installed.
That's for sure. Well, thanks so much for all the information. You have a website?
We do. It's grimmsfuelcompany.com, so people can either go there and get all our information, or they can look us up in the phone book also.
All right. Well, I think that we can safely say that there's something for everyone at your company.
There is.
Right, and then you just do it this spring, and you'll have a happy garden for the rest of the year.
Yep, that's right. Get it done and out of the way so you can go enjoy the summer.
Well, thanks for all the information.
Thanks for stopping by.